If you're new to bear baiting, I think today is a must-watch video for you. I'm going to go over a couple of recipes, maybe 3, maybe 4. We'll see how this video progresses. But I'm going to start out with the very basics so that if you're just thinking about getting into bear baiting, then I've got a couple of really simple recipes that will definitely work for you, as well as a good strategy. Everything you see right here on this table is what I will discuss here for the very, very beginner to bear baiting and bear hunting. So let's have fun with this. Bear baiting season has arrived. Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the rustic log cabin in northern Maine. Welcome to my bait shop this morning. We're down in the dungeon. We're getting ready for bear baiting. I'm making up some bear bait today, so I wanted to bring you along. I'm starting out first thing here. First, let's have some coffee. You can't get an early morning start without having a little bit of coffee in the system. Today I'm going to gear this video for someone new that's just getting into bear hunting or thinking about getting into bear trapping. If you are on the edge and want to try it, pull the trigger, start. It's not that difficult. It takes time, it takes commitment, it's a whole lot of fun. The commitment is probably the biggest part of bear season that I like. Once you start, you are committed to that bear site. If you would like to take a bear. Just because you're putting bait in the woods does not guarantee that you're going to get a bear. It might not even guarantee that you're going to feed a bear. Some bait sites never produce a bear for the whole season, and some bait sites will get in 5, 6, 10, 12 bears at a time. So you just never know. You can do your very best to get set up, and once you've got your stand in place and you've got your bait in place, your job is finished. You just need to keep supplying that bait, and the rest is up to the bears. They're either going to come or they're not. That's the plain and simple truth of bear baiting and bear hunting. Sometimes you do a whole lot of work for no success at all, but the fun is in the work. The fun is in all of the preparation that goes into bear baiting and goes into bear hunting. So if you're new to it, pull the trigger and let's go. But I'm going to start out today. I've just got a couple things here on the table I want to show you. You can make bear baiting as complicated as you want, or you can make it as simple as you want. Like I said just a minute ago, it's all up to the bear. There is no such thing as a magic bear bait. I don't care how many videos are on YouTube about bear hunting and the very best bait, that does not exist. There is no such thing as the very best bait for bear hunting. Again, I don't care how many times you've heard it. What is good for bear hunting and for bear baiting is what the bear wants to eat at the moment. That does not mean on day one, the bait that you've got him coming into your sweets and to your cooking oil and all of that, does not mean that 3 weeks from now he's not going to switch. Maybe go to someone else's bait, or maybe just go back to eating the natural food. He's tired of what you're offering him. So what I do is I offer a mixture of things. I like to keep it interesting. I bring out several, I call them chew toys for the bears. I like to have the bear be active around my site. I like to have, I have 3 barrels. I have 1 barrel that I keep the sweets in. I have 1 barrel that I keep the more nutritious food in that he might be looking for, which I consider to be corn. This year is beef grain finishing off. If you're going through the whole month of here, we can bait for the whole month of August. So if you're baiting for the whole month of August, he might not be liking the sweets 4 weeks in. So keep your bait interesting. I also have a boat trailer tire with the rim in it that I've drilled several holes in. And in there I will be putting this corn that you see on the table. I'll be putting this corn in there with some syrup. I call that a chew toy for the bear. I will have that chained to a tree. It's not a very big one. It's got a couple of big holes in it. It's got a couple of small holes in it. It's enough that when he rolls it over, he can get some grain out of it, so we can keep him active and keep him at the site. I don't want him just coming in and grabbing some food and running off. I want him to come in and spend some time, because then you can get, if he's coming in to spend some time, you can take your time to examine that bear, examine him for size, make sure there's no cubs with it, make sure it's not a sow with cubs. So if they're just coming in quick and fast, you might not get a chance for anything. So having your bait site set up where they come in and take their time, and there's something different in each barrel, then they've got lots of stuff to check out. And the other thing I do is on this particular site, I put up a big backdrop behind my bait, just because it's the way it worked out with there's a big pine tree that fell down, so it made a great backdrop. So the bears have to come in left or right. So I'm going to get a side profile when they're coming and when they're leaving. And that takes us back to shoot. I don't shoot for the boiler room. I know that that's probably where most people do, but I don't like the boiler room. For me, there's no, I'm not after the head to put on a wall. So for me, the very best shot for taking out a bear is right behind the ear. That's where I put the 30-06, that's where I shoot him. And when I shoot a bear behind the ear, he drops instantly. I've never had a bear run off. I've never had a bear do the death groan, which I don't believe there's any need of. If you take a kill zone shot on the heart and the lung and all that stuff, the bear's gonna run off and you're gonna have to track him. I'm just as happy having that bear drop right there at the barrel and being done with it. I can see the bear from my stand. He's dead on the doornail on the ground. Done deal. That's the way I do it. So let's get on to this bait. Enough on that. We're going to get into that in other videos, and we'll also get out in the tree stand and all of that. So this corn right here, if you want to keep a recipe simple, all you need is a bag of whole kernel corn. You need some syrup. Any kind of syrup will work. This is maple syrup. You can cut this syrup in half. This is a gallon. Cut it in half with water or some kind of juice, and you can double your maple syrup that you're dumping in. So you could turn that into 2 gallons. That's how I spread that out. You just need the flavor. If you want some more sweetness, throw in a bunch of sugar. Just regular table sugar is what I use. So that takes care of that recipe. You got your syrup, you got your corn. Now the big thing for drawing in a bear, if you're new to it, is what's called a wick. This right here is a bucket with a hole drilled in the bottom of it. I put a rope through this bucket and I tie on a rag. Trying to think of the bag. There's a burlap bag. There's a burlap bag that you can buy at the feed store. I tie my rope onto that burlap bag. An old t-shirt will work. Anything will work. Then you take that rag and you dump this cooking oil on it. Just dump it right in there. Get that. I have a burlap bag. I get that burlap bag soaked in that cooking oil. I might drop in this much oil or more. It doesn't matter as long as that burlap bag is soaked. And then that rope, I bring a weight with me and I throw a rope up in the trees as far as I can get it. If I can get this 30 feet off the ground or 20 feet off the ground, that's exactly what I want. Then I pull this bucket up upside down with that rag in it or that burlap bag until this thing is 20 to 30 feet off the ground. What that is, that's a wick. And being that high off the ground, it's going to catch the wind. And then that's what's going to go around the entire area. And that's how you draw in a bear. If you're new to this, this is how I began. I had no idea about bear hunting and any of that stuff when I started. So I'm in the same boat as you was. But this cooking oil on that rag, I went back 4 days later to check my bait and it was completely gone. I had 3 barrels of bread in there with cooking oil on it and maple syrup on it, and every single slice of bread was gone, and the barrels were empty. I put the bait out on Sunday, I came back on Thursday, and the bait barrels was empty. So this really works. Keep this in mind. If there's a secret about getting a bear to your bait, I believe this is the one. The reason that I use a bucket is because if it rains, the rain doesn't wash everything off my wick. My wick stays dry, my wick stays full of oil. Just a lot of reasons. The wick will hang down this far, but this bucket will protect it from the rain and the weather and continue to be successful. And then the rest of the grease that's in my 5-gallon jug, I just throw everywhere, especially in the front of your barrels. You've got to get that bear walking in some kind of oil so that he gets it all over his feet, he gets it all over his fur, and then he will make a path out through the woods that's like a beacon, like a lighthouse. Here in the state of Maine, we have lighthouses. Well, that grease is just like a lighthouse. You get that bear headed out of that bear bait site covered in cooking oil. He's going to let every bear in the county know, hey, there's some good feed over there at Beaver Creek. And before you know it, they're going to be lining up and they're going to be trailing in. So, but this will take care of this recipe for this week. And you guys have another sip of coffee with me. And I will see you next week.